And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. Ryan, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Once again here with our second mock draft. We're still trying to knock out this data. But first and foremost, me and Steven were curious as to how this mock would go compared to the last one since we're post-combine at this point. So we'll see where we're at now compared to 2 weeks ago when we did our first one.
Yeah. The first mock draft was pre-combine. So anybody that's watching tonight, just know this is a post-combine mock. Just know that we have the first screenshot of the mock drafts, how it went. And I'm going to say things are going to go drastically different. These wide receivers tested off the charts. And to be honest with you, I expect to see a huge run of wide receivers from pick 7 on. So we're going to see how it goes. Let me pull the board up. There it is. Let's do it.
Get it moving. Got the people waiting in here.
Mostly everybody's here. I'm missing
We're just
one.
missing Boomer. He's not going to show. We missed one.
Draft started, boys. Let's roll.
Already starting off spicy.
Sheesh.
I love how he passed on Marvin at the 2-hole last draft, and now same guy takes Marvin Harrison 101.
I don't have to explain this pick. I'm going to take the best QB on the board. That would be Mr. Caleb Williams. A lot of people are going to have some discrepancy about that. But let's be honest here. Caleb is the best prospect we've seen in a long time. I know we said the same about Trevor Lawrence. I know we've seen the same about Joe Burrow. It all goes back to the Andrew Luck draft pick. That's the best QB I've ever seen coming out of college. Caleb Williams is a very highly touted QB, guys. You can bring up some things. How's he do against competition? We broke that down in this profile. The third down woes. We've addressed it all. Caleb Williams is the right choice here.
I think we're going to be looking at an auto draft here. But, yeah, I mean, Caleb 1-2 is definitely the spot. I've been on record to say that I think Marvin Harrison's probably the safer pick between the two, but that's just because I think Marvin Harrison's probably like a pretty generational wide receiver to come out. But then again, you got a few two in this draft class that I think can be pretty solid in the league. But Caleb 1-2, you can never scoff at that.
Some will argue 3. Some are going to argue for Odunze, just so we know here. So with Odunze, I do like him. Let's not get that twisted. Everything.
Hands up. Yeah. He's good. He's just
everything he's going to say on the profile. He has over 2.5 yards per route run against man end zone. Solid athlete. I'm not going to say he's an elite athlete because we've seen wide receivers in this draft class test off the charts. I'm going to say he's a solid to good athlete. Typical size for a prototypical X wide receiver. Body control. Knows how to high point the football. Has a lot of good things. Again, there are some red flags about his tape that Ryan and I discussed in this profile breakdown, but that's okay. Where you're going to get Odunze at the 1.6, 1.7, feel comfortable taking him there.
Oh, for sure. And you failed to mention his biggest weapon is his deep threat ability, which should translate well as long as he can keep the hands going on he had in college. So should be okay. Pretty solid contested catch rate. Like I said, I have nothing against him. I just don't think he's on the same level that Marvin Harrison and Malik Nabers is on. And I don't think that's any disrespect. I think he's 3 for sure, but like I said, not a knock. I just don't think he's on the same level.
Some have home wide receiver 2 over Malik Nabers. That's something that I
know, dude. I can't get behind it.
Yeah, I can never do that.
Yeah. But I mean, to each their own. We could be wrong. We've been wrong in the past. It happens. But if I had to go on a limb,
Malik Nabers is special, bro. Malik Nabers
is probably going to end up having a better NFL career than Odunze will. But we'll see how it goes.
I'm going to assume this is going to be a Drake May auto selection.
Come on.
Probably.
Yep.
Drake May goes.
Jayden Daniels at the 1-4. I still have May 2, Jayden 3. That's just me. I'm not taking Jayden that high. I'm taking Jayden 1.5, 1.6 in that range. Nabers was my pick there, to be honest. And I know where you're going here at the 1.5.
Yeah. Well, I just got done gassing him up, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I love him for his yak ability. He's explosive with the ball in his hands. Like I said, we've addressed the problems that he has. Right, we know that he can work with catching traffic. He struggles on the sidelines a little bit, but I mean, you figure these things can buff out. When you look at that, the rest of his skill set, I think translates really well into the league. And I love to see him on a solid offense, and I think he ends up on a solid offense, but we'll see. I love Nabers here at the 1.5.
I'll be honest with you here. I think for what you and I profiled Marvin Harrison to be, I think that Malik Nabers is better in certain areas. I want to say that I think Malik Nabers is better in open space. I think he's better at creating after the catch.
Sure.
I think we don't talk about it enough about his body control. But I do think that Marvin Harrison is a better down the field ball tracker, especially on the sidelines. I do think he's better when it comes to putting himself in position to contort his body and to make those catches on the sidelines. I think he's better in that area, but I think Malik Nabers is better in open space.
Welcome back, Boomer. Glad you're here, bud. If you're in the live stream.
Yeah, my bad, kids. Hey, man, things happen, bro. I'm a father myself.
Xavier Worthy. Here's the first example. Last time, I believe he went to you at the 2.4. He rises up to 1.9 already. Yep. I think that's about where you're going to end up seeing him in drafts. Maybe 1.8 over Troy Franklin, depending on how you feel about him. But I think that's comfortably where Xavier Worthy's going to sit.
In my pick, I'm going to go ahead and take. I'm going to go ahead and take my boy here. Worthy has been my wide receiver from the jump. Absolutely. I can respect that. I still have Franklin at the 1.4 spot, Worthy at the 1.5. So the 1.6, I'm going to take my wide receiver here. I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. This personally was a NFL Combine darling. Not as worried about his late breakout due to the fact that he didn't start playing football until his high school times. Really showed out here. 17 touchdowns is something that needs to be talked about. For those guys that are worried about him at an NFL level, elite size, elite speed. Dude can separate with the best. He's a 6'4" wide receiver, plays strong too. I do like his profile here. And to get him at 2.2 is a steal.
Yeah, 2.2 is pretty solid value for Brian Thomas. But the way these things are going to start falling, I mean, you look at it, J.J. McCarthy seems to be rising up NFL boards more and more every day. Trey Benson, who went 2.1, is obviously, as far as athletic goes, the RB1 in this class. You're going to see people jump. I mean, this is just what this time is for.
Yep.
And we could see by the time draft day comes, Brian Thomas going got over Troy Franklin, maybe over Xavier Worthy, depending on how things go, especially with draft landing spots. But I think at the 2.2, he's a solid receiver, tested very well in the combine, better than I expected.
I think in your rookie drafts, though, J.J. McCarthy is pretty safe to go at the 1.8, 1.9, to be honest.
Who?
J.J. McCarthy. He's getting a lot of preseason. He's getting
especially
a lot of
these
preseason
Superflex
buzz.
leagues.
Yeah.
So I was going to be between Ladd and Blake Corum here with this pick. He made it easy for me. I'm going Blake Corum here at the 2.5. Tested pretty well, not as fast as I would like him to be, but I touched on it before. He did great for his size, like build-wise. He's small, but he's bulky. Tested well in the 40 times, looked well in 40 times, excuse me. The shuffle and the cone times, he did solid in, and he looked great in drills as well. This is a guy I've been high on for years, though. I said last year that I would be taking this guy in the back end of the first. And it's a year later, and he's a little bit older, but get him in the middle of the second, I'm not mad at it at all.
I agree. Like we said, we talked about it. Doug Martin is the comp here. If you get a Doug Martin type running back, a 4 or 5 year stretch, Doug Martin was good to elite. He had multiple running back one finishes.
Yeah.
I think I think that's a great running back to take. I think you're going to see day 2 draft capital for Blake Corum, Trey Benson, and Jonathan Brooks. And possibly a running back that's on my board here that he might fall. So I'm not going to mention his name. I don't know if any of these guys are watching the podcast. Oh.
Based off comments, I'm assuming that Brian is probably here watching, but we'll see. Ken Coleman off of the 2-6. This is, I think, exactly where we went last time. Are we still? I mean, obviously not here to take shots on people's draft picks, but Keon Coleman, in, out.
I'm not in. You know that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the tape. Very weird player to scout and analyze here at over there at Florida State. Then the athletic testing and how he did the combine really drove me away from the profile. Like I said, I dropped him outside of my wide receiver 10. He was out there before Roman Wilson. Great pick, by the way.
Solid pick.
So I had him push more. God damn it. There's the running back. I had him push more towards like wide receiver 13, 14 of this class. So nothing that like I'm like head over heels for.
Right. You going here? I'm assuming you just got sniped by Lloyd.
Let's see where your brother goes.
That's a solid point.
I just want to see where your brother goes.
We need to get brother go next. We gotta get brother on board with this podcast. We gotta get him on.
Yeah, it makes this pick a lot easier for me. I want to take I know we have some concerns about his 5th year breakout, but I want to take a specimen that I thought performed well at the combine. I'm going to take Xavier Legette here in the 3rd round. Big fan of his, man. Big fan.
I hate that. Side note, I hate the way this is set up because I'm struggling to find running backs that I want.
Well, Jalen Wright just went, so I hope he's not the one you want.
Yeah, he was. I was just looking. I'm just trying to add people to the queue as I'm doing this, and like I got to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Jatavian Sanders is also
Jatavian Sanders, solid pick. So I'm between 2 guys here. One who has been kind of a riser recently, in Ricky Pearsall, and then 2 being Malachi Corley. I think I'm low-key. I think I'm leaning Ricky here. I'll go Ricky. Out of Miami, tested pretty well, looked pretty solid, pretty smooth. But I've been pretty high on Malachi Corley for a while, but the more I watch his tape and the more I dive into him as a prospect, the more he reminds me of Treylon Burks. And I was somebody who was high on Treylon Burks when he was out, very high on him. Me and Steven both were, and he's done nothing. I don't want to get burned by it again. A gadget guy for his school. Sure, he is that offense, but it's because they get it to him in any way they can.
Yeah, they were very creative how they got the ball in his hands, like a Deebo Samuel type role. Treylon Burks was the same when he was at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Matched it with a solid body size. He was 6'2", 225, played at a big body, electric speed, great down the field ball tracking ability. I'm not going to say that Treylon was a complete bust because injuries definitely plagued a huge part of his first 2 years in the NFL. But from what I've seen, I have not been happy with the Treylon Burks evaluation. And I think Deebo is one of those guys that is more of like an outlier type guy. If you notice that people are having problems separating in college football, they're most likely going to have problems separating in the NFL.
Yeah, agreed. And just to refer to these comments over here, Wright's been with RB2 all offseason. He's my 3. So I have him over Brooks, Allen, and Lloyd. I'm not too far off from him and Corum. But I don't know why. I don't know why I'm acting as if there's landing spots already, but I just have some kind of strong gut feeling that Blake Corum is going to end up with Harbaugh again in Los Angeles. And that situation would just be electric.
I'll be honest with you, man. I still am not completely sold on Jaylen, right? I know the explosiveness is there. I know the athletic profile is there. I know he averaged over 7
sure.
yards per carry at Tennessee.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, he has real vision problems. Truly, truly does. His vision is awful. And I say that with all due respect. I've seen people call him the blind Alvin Kamara, and that's not good.
Ignorant is what it is.
It's not ignorant. It's, I mean, dude, when we break down his profile, I can't wait to talk about Jaylen, right? Actually, I think we should do him next, to be honest with you.
Okay. I am down. The slot. Okay.
There's
Quick
a lot of
pause
tips, man.
because we finally, Bucky Irving falls all the way down to 3.8.
And he was taken at 2-1 last draft.
2-1 by you, I believe. All the way down to 3.8, man. I mean, I know that 40 times scary. Didn't test great. 3.8 deserved.
I don't know. His tape tells a lot. His tape tells a huge difference in how he tested. I do think he's better than the 4.55 he ran. I know he didn't test well athletically, but he didn't look bad in the running back drills. We all know that his tape shows electric ability. He's a strong guy for how small he is. Plays a lot bigger than 5'10", 192. I truly believe that I do think that how he tested was bad, and it kind of pushed him down to a day 3, day 4 running back.
Right.
But I don't know. I got a lot of love for Bucky, man. I always have.
I know, dude. I know. Thanks for hanging out, Brian. We appreciate it. Now, when you get all right, so here's my big question for you: is like, I feel like it might be a little early for this question. I get it. We're in the beginning of March here, but I feel like last year, me and you had a few guys pinned down in the 4th round that we thought were like solid value. Is there anybody? And I know you're risking getting sniped here, but is there anybody that you can really put your stake in and say, I think this guy could be your big pop in the 4th round?
Yep. And you're going to see here, because I don't think your brother's going to take him. It's a guy that I got to watch a lot of in the Big Ten, and he tested a lot better than I ever thought he would. He is one of the most explosive tight ends that we've seen come out in some time. A tight end that produces a RAS score over 9.95 is something that you really need to pay attention to. My flag is planted. Theo Johnson.
Go Penn State. Am I right?
Go Penn State, baby. So just know that thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So just know that I don't, it's not all about taking, victories here. Ryan will tell you I was a big Puka Nacua guy. I got Puka in probably 80% of my dynasty drafts. And you're not always right on 4th round picks, 5th round picks, however deep your rookie drafts are. So understand that you're going to miss on these guys more than you're going to hit. But sometimes you find that diamond in the rough. And last year I was very high on Puka, very high. And fortunately it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I haven't found my absolute needle pointer in the 4th round yet, if you want to say that. But in this one, call me a little crazy. Love the way he looked in the combine. If I can get him in the 4th round as a chance.
Hey, my boy Luke.
I'm taking Luke all day, baby.
Boy Luke.
He ran faster than his brother at the combine, which is a huge surprise. And to be honest with you, in some of those drills, looks a little smooth. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to have a great college or NFL career, but it's a fun pick. And
yeah,
in the 4th round, I'll take that shot.
I'll tell you what, though, Boomer is also right. My boy Xavier Worthy out of Louisville, also a nice little stash. He was the most impressive running back at the combine. Blazing speed, led all running backs in the 40 this year. Solid size. A lot of running backs that we didn't talk about. Nobody has him on their top 10. I definitely agree that a shot in the 4th round on him is very worth it.
Yeah.
Another wide receiver, you said Luke McCaffrey, that I didn't expect, that you expect to fall to the 4th round, that could be a solid dart throw. And then, of course, me and you have also talked about Jalen Polk. Jalen Polk went 3rd round last time we did this draft, and now we're talking about a mid-4th. Another great addition. This 4th round is crazy. Because
I know I talked to you about Cowering not long ago in the 4-4 spot. Did you ever take the time to look at some of his tape, or are you still?
Yeah, there's a wide receiver here that I'm actually very, very surprised is still here. Let me make sure he didn't go. No, he went. Sorry, he went 3rd round. I missed him, but Malik Washington was value late.
Yeah,
I know you're not a UVA guy.
But listen, I'm a Virginia Tech guy. You won't ever catch me. You won't ever catch me drafting a Cavalier.
He's kind of smooth, bro.
Hey, man. If I really start watching tape and I like him, then we'll have the conversation. But
I need you to get a screenshot of this too as we continue to write our.
Oh, for sure, I got you. I'm gonna do it right
now.
You
want to in chat real quick though.
Oh yeah, if anybody's in this live stream that was drafting with us, thank you so much for participating. We'll be doing more of these if you guys want to get more in. If you want to draft that at a different spot next time, we'll be sending it out to the same outlets we have been, so it'll be pretty easy to access it if you wanted to. If not, we have our @ and our names on StreamYard. You can just reach out to us on there. Just get on a waiting list, however you want to do it. But we're going to be knocking these out left and right.
Got a comment coming in. Brian, you're absolutely right. Can't wait for the NFL to crap all over our dreams for half these guys. Yeah, absolutely. We've come to the realization that most of these guys aren't going to hit. You know, they may be athletic freaks, but the way the game is being played is changing. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I do think the running back landscape where it stands today is in good hands with this class and the 2025 class, especially the 2025 class, because they're not paying these guys. These guys are, if they got a contract, they're lucky to have gotten a contract. They're playing on 1-year franchise tags. They're finding different homes all the time. I think these running backs are going to get more burned than most of us think. There's only 7 running backs in Dynasty. I'll throw a modest number. Let's go 10 that I feel comfortable owning. And that's not really, and it's not even really 10. 7.
I don't even know if it's 10.
7's my honest number.
I don't even know if it's 10. But, I mean, look, this year's class is nothing close to next year's class with Henderson and Raheem Sanders and John Jenkins coming out. It's
Nick Singleton.
It's juiced next year.
Ole Gordon. I'm just saying, though. So these wide receivers, these heavy wide receiver runs, okay, how many of them do we truly think are going to pan out?
Right.
I don't know. But goddamn, are they athletic darlings? And they tested well, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So.
And I'll say, like, what's weird about this year's combine is you can watch some of these wide receiver drills and kind of point out, like, didn't love that by him, didn't love this by him. It seems like this year they tested pretty fucking well. There's nobody other than Keon Coleman that I could say blew his draft stock. Which was weird to me. Which also makes it very hard to draft in for somebody like me who can has an outlet to look at stuff like that and say, okay, I can look at that and point at it and say that's a problem. Not so much this year. So time to start film grinding for real.
Yeah, and if Johnny Wilson moves to tight end, goddamn, he's a fucking specimen.
I think you should make the move.
NFL has to put the 3-cone earlier in the day so people actually do it. I agree. I absolutely agree. The burst drills, I mean, obviously the 40 is a big thing for us as we talk about these athletic profiles, but the burst drills, the shuttles, the 3-cones, absolutely. Those to me are important as well. I think the 40 can be overhyped to a certain extent. Remember, Larry Fitzgerald ran a 4.58. We're talking about I think the 40 is overstated a little bit.
For sure, the 40 times overblown. And Brian's right. I would love to see more people run the 3-cones. I think it's an electric drill. I think it proves a lot as far as player profile goes, especially some of these scouts that are not just us behind the computer. Real NFL teams, I'm sure, would love to see some of that stuff. Yeah. And say, okay, if he ran a 4.57, or a 4.47, but he ran like a 4.1 cone time or shuttle time, then you're right back in it.
Right. So. But I will say, shout out to Odunze. He didn't leave the field until he ran under a certain 3-cone drill. That's impressive.
That's respect.
That's respect. Respect from us. Also, respect. I don't know if Ryan can see it, but we got 121 people watching this podcast. That might be the most we've ever had. I just want to say shout out to you guys for coming and hanging out with us. I hope you appreciate, these mock drafts, and I hope you learned something from these because we're going to put out an ADP article on these rookies. We do every year, and we're going to be posting that in our threads. So the threads are going to keep coming. So we appreciate you guys for hanging out.
Always. Thank you guys for showing out. Thanks once again. Thanks everybody that did and participated in the mock. Until next time, guys, y'all take it easy. Once again, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Leo. You all have a good night.
You guys have a good night, and we are out.